You guys, it's so bad. Miami is like 50 degrees. For what?
Well, shout out to the Shein hoodie, cause I've been warm.
No
I've been a
free
little
promo.
warm.
Pay you, bro.
Shout out to the redacted hoodie. Thank you. Thank you.
Not too much.
Hey.
Guys, so excited.
Oh, we
To
are
be
live.
back. Okay.
What's
That
up? We're just waiting on them to share the
Yes.
link.
Um,
We're about to get started. Go ahead and
I wanna
Nah,
look at myself.
hit that like button.
boy, look good.
We look
Wow.
good.
Yes.
Hey, Jeffy's on it, man. You already know, bro. OPV's on here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hey, hey.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and go follow my dog. OPV, man. IG, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of them.
Yes.
You still
All
gaming?
socials.
Do you have Facebook?
You still gaming?
Nah. He-
Oh.
Are you fasting those two?
Oh, he's a busy man. He don't have time to play the game. That's crazy.
What? Like,
Not even a
'cause you're
ginger ale or
allergic?
none.
That's true.
That's
true.
not the way I live my life.
We got
sir.
naturally-
That's not the way I live my life.
I love how
natural built, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking.
Well, don't let Caleb hear that.
Yeah, I used to
What
do
you
it
mean?
too.
You can't hear that.
I'm gonna make fresh juice now.
Oh, you need a juicer, bro.
I'ma
You
get
do need a
that.
juice.
Natural juices will work for you.
I'm gonna get you a favorite. Let me not say that.
Yeah, she said it.
I
It
can
was a
put it
lie.
in- I can
We
put in for
caught it.
some.
We caught it.
I can
So
put
let me
in-
not commit.
I want it tomorrow, anyways. I want it
Yeah.
all the way in May.
Okay.
All right, Daphne.
We are live.
Okay, period.
We acting like we done.
Right. We just sitting here yapping away.
That's crazy.
Okay. Okay, go with your big introduction.
Oh man.
Yes.
What's up, world? It's your boy Fifth of Sam. Go ahead and tap.
Tap in.
You already know we here on a cold Wednesday evening, but we're in a hot studio.
Hot studio.
Chilling with my favorite people, and we have a new addition to the crew
Yes,
as
we
a
do.
special guest. But right now I'm with Steve Breezy.
What it do, world? It's your favorite host, man. We love you. I love you. I know y'all miss me. It's a long time coming. Y'all keep blowing me up to get back on.
There it
I'm
is.
Here.
There it is.
I'm here.
There it is, world. There it
I'll
is.
speak to my fans. No, I answer.
That's it. That's
I
it.
answer when they call.
Well, we're happy to have you.
know.
And as always, one of my favorites, we have Dow in the building.
Hello, you guys. I know you guys miss me.
Not really.
I know I said that last time and I left again, but hey,
Yeah. But we
school's
back.
hard.
We're
And guess
back.
what? 4.0 GPA. Dean's list this
Let's
semester.
go.
I claim it.
Congratulations.
Anyways,
Let's get
we
this
have
person.
a very, very special guest with us today, you guys.
Yes, we do.
We have Gloria Martinez. She runs a nonprofit that has 2 programs, Taking Back the Girls and Parenting
Tree of life.
Tree of Life Parenting Center.
That's it.
She has a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work, and she is currently in a doctorate program in social work. She's not playing, you guys.
No.
Educated. I
That's
love that
right.
for
Yep.
you.
That's
And
right.
on top of all of that, she is a mother to 3 girls.
Yes, God help me.
Yeah. Congratulations on your newest edition.
Thank
Okay, and let's jump right into today's video.
Right in. So we have a special one for you today. As you all are aware, well, some of you are not. This month, the month of January, is dedicated to human trafficking. Right? We just wanted to come on here and raise awareness, especially in the state that we live in Florida. Human trafficking is one of the the state of Florida has one of the highest rate of human trafficking. So we just wanted to raise awareness and talk about it a little bit. And we have here with us Gloria, she's gonna tell you a little bit about her. You're gonna find out what Gloria's here, and I think we can have she has great insights and can
Absolutely.
definitely expand our knowledge on what's going on around us in regards to human trafficking.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, human trafficking is involve the use of force, fraud, coercion to exploit people or for labor services or commercial sex. It is a violation of human rights and occurs worldwide.
Yes.
There are several forms of human trafficking. I'll give you three of them. Sex trafficking is exploiting individuals for commercial sex. Labor trafficking, that's forcing people to work under inhumane conditions. And child trafficking, that's exploiting children for labor, sex, or as soldiers.
So, some global statistics, you guys. I don't think people realize how big the human trafficking, for lack of a better word, industry is, you guys. Over 27.6 million people worldwide are victims of human trafficking at any given point as of 2022.
That's
I know,
2022 is crazy.
That's
That much
right?
people.
That's
Mhm.
insane. Of these, 6.3 million are victims forced into sexual exploitation. And whew, brace yourselves.
Yeah,
The
it is.
human trafficking is a $150 billion industry
Not
globally.
millions.
Billion with a B.
Can I put that in perspective?
Yes.
No,
So,
please.
all right. To break that down to people,
Mhm.
it's what Spirit Airlines makes, what American Airlines makes, and what Delta Airlines makes in 3 years is not enough as that number. Human
Shit.
trafficking makes more than all three of those airlines make in 3 years combined. Like all three of them together.
That's
That's crazy.
insane.
Everybody
insane.
flying every day. That's crazy.
That's what I'm
Those
saying.
are major airlines.
Right.
Like,
Well-
period.
Spirit.
Okay.
Anyways.
All
Come
right.
on now. When y'all see that flight ticket, y'all take it.
All right. Okay. Let's go back.
LA for $30.
All right.
Anyways. So,
Oh yeah, so
Well, that you could share the demographics real
yes,
quick.
of course. So, I lost it. Okay. 70% of victims are women and girls, but it is very important to know that men and boys are victims of human trafficking. This is all the categories: sex trafficking, labor, child trafficking. It's very important to know that because a lot of people think that men can't be victims of this, and that's absolutely incorrect.
Yeah.
Children account for a quarter of all the victims worldwide.
25%.
25.
It's crazy.
Very crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a couple of risk factors, are really poverty, lack of education, unstable living situations, and social marginalization and increased vulnerability. So like basically like it's a lot easier and it'll get a lot easier for people to be victims of that, as technology evolves, because people start to use, Instagram,
Absolutely.
all types of social media,
All platforms.
Facebook, TikTok, whatever the case may be. Shoot, even-
Roblox.
Roblox.
Roblox,
Roblox
yes.
is a big one, man.
No,
Roblox.
it's crazy, you guys.
Roblox is, you would think it's just a child game,
No.
Please watch your kids.
but
I'm not
Roblox
gonna lie.
is so
My kids don't play Roblox.
yeah, it's too
Good.
it's too
I'm
heavily
sorry.
It's a
involved
lot.
worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
it's,
lot.
it's very heavily involved worldwide. So, yeah, people can really be victims of that, by just Roblox, and technology will forever begin to just increase and grow and become way more, personalized, and it'll get to the point where it starts to get closer and closer into your personal life, So
Yeah.
as time grows, who knows how much that percentage or that much people would becomes victims. So just be aware.
Yeah.
Watch out, man.
Be very
please.
vigilant, Of course, women and children, women and girls, but also, men and boys.
Yeah.
Be aware of your surroundings. Look out when you're outside alone in public, at night, in sketchy areas, all of that, you guys. Make sure that of course, it's good to accept help from people who are offering help, but just make sure that you have the spirit of discernment and you know what help
Just
is
watch out.
actually help. Yeah, because it's really crazy and it's so sad to see how many people are victims to these senseless acts.
Yeah, and if
Definitely.
they using Roblox, they could probably use GTA,
Use anything.
Everything.
2K, Madden,
Everything.
all them
Anything with a
PlayStation
chat.
games.
Yeah.
Literally anything with a chat.
Anything with a chat.
Yeah.
Anything with a chat.
So, Miss Gloria,
Yeah.
or just Gloria.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you share with us a bit of your background
Yeah.
and what led to the circumstances you had found yourself in?
Yeah, so I love that you guys just went over the risk factors, because those are the risk factors, right? Foster youth, low income, all of the things, having abuse or neglect in their past. None of those apply to me. I grew up in a great household. I grew up in Cutler Bay. I grew up to two parents that were married. They met and 90 days later been married and never had an issue, since. Of course, regular marital issues, right? But
Yeah.
they didn't divorce. There was no separation. It was all straight. I grew up in Miami. My dad was actually a federal employee. He worked for the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Wow.
And my mom worked in IT up until she couldn't anymore. She has multiple sclerosis, so there came to a point in my childhood where she couldn't work. But yeah, so I grew up pretty good, right? I'm
Mhm.
white. No one can really tell that I'm Hispanic unless they ask. Right? I'm Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, but just seeing me, blonde hair, blue eyes, that's white girl.
Yeah.
Right? So I experienced a lot of privilege. And yet I was trafficked. I was trafficked from 12 to 17. I was trafficked by a guy that I met outside of my middle school. And so, along with the stats, the average age of a girl being recruited is 12 to 14. That's
Wow.
middle
Wow.
school,
Wow.
right? 12, you're,
Yeah.
you're still in
You're a
middle school.
baby.
You are a
Oh my
baby.
goodness.
Exactly. So I met my trafficker in middle school. I thought he was my boyfriend. It's a concept we call the Romeo pimp concept.
Mhm.
And it's not to glorify, right? It's not to say, oh, my Romeo, right?
Mhm.
It's just to explain that there is a relationship. It could
Yeah.
be male, female, right?
Mhm.
Because female can traffic too,
Yes.
and females can traffic other females, and just like guys can traffic other guys. It's just, there's no cookie
Mhm.
cutter, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I thought he was my boyfriend. And this is one of the most common ways that girls are recruited, especially in Miami. Social media has heightened that, right? With
Yeah.
the you want to be in my music video, let me, let me
Yes.
let me fly you to Miami.
Oh my
We'll
goodness,
stay
you
in a high rise
guys.
on the beach, go down Ocean Drive, all the things. And so for a long time I really thought that it was odd, and I got stuck in this is my first relationship, right?
Mhm.
My so-called boyfriend, right? My trafficker was 16.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask how old
Wow.
he
Yeah.
was.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, you were dating like this old
Wow.
ass guy. No, it wasn't.
16 years
He
old.
was 16.
That's wow.
Yeah. So to
That's
think that
horrible.
the minds of a 16-year-old already has this
Yeah.
thing.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
Yeah.
just wanted to play games at that age.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I still just want to play games.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
That is wild.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
How long did you know the guy?
So he was actually my best friend's boyfriend's best friend, right? One of those where
Mhm.
like he's your best friend, so now maybe I should try and date him, kind of thing,
Yes.
right? So they were really close. They grew up together. I had known him about 9 months or so before he ever flipped the script on me. Like he just switched.
Yeah.
It didn't start like scheduling appointments is what I call them for me. It was definitely like being the lookout or passing a package from one person to the other
Mhm.
or picking up a package from somebody.
Mhm.
It definitely didn't start off that way. And so for a long time, it was just, he was very smart when he did it in the, I need to know the ins and outs in your family, right? So he was at my house. He was hanging out with my dad, the Fed, right? He was
Wow.
hanging out with my uncles, FBI, DEA, Homeland Security. He was chilling.
Girl,
He
you
brave.
just from a
Chilling.
long line of
If somebody like that is not safe,
I'm saying.
right.
That.
And that goes to show how fearless these traffickers are.
That.
Because you're walking into a house with government officials and you're planning on.
Chilling.
And that young too. That young. 16 and you that brave, bro. What?
That's what's really
Yeah.
throwing me.
Yeah.
At 16,
man.
I remember I got called to the office. I was scared. I was so scared. I was going home early, but I was still just scared. Like, I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah. He had a whole
Wow.
operation. It was it ended up being him and two of his friends.
Mhm.
One of them was the aggressor. So if things happen that weren't supposed to happen, the aggressor would come in. And if we needed to recruit more girls and be the life of the party, the other guy would come in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know you said your trafficker was your best friend's boyfriend's
Yeah.
best friend. Was the best friend's boyfriend in on this too or no?
No.
No?
No. No, no, no.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have the same group of friends. Whether we've, had our little patches where we don't speak anymore, but I've had pretty solid friends since like sixth grade year. And so when I started sharing my story, a lot of them were like, wait, what? Right. And so reliving that within the last 3 years, I would say anytime I go back and I'm like, you remember that time? And they're like, now I see it.
Wow.
Right now I see what I didn't see before.
Yeah.
But also with, having to keep this on, it was definitely our little secret, right? I wasn't allowed to share anything.
Of course.
Threats, to my family, right? To my mom, especially when she stopped working. Oh, she's disabled. If she finds out, this is just going to be the thing that kills her, right? Knowing the ins and outs of when, my brothers went home and when they stayed. So playing on that as well, like, oh, no one's home. I know your brothers don't come home this early. When dad would go on business trips, he's going to be the laughing stock of his office. Right. And so,
get that.
just a lot of threats and things into that.
Can you share specifically when like it realized for you? You said that you got out when you were 17, correct?
Yeah.
Can you explain like when exactly the point was where you were like, this is not okay. I am being trafficked. I need to get out of this situation.
So one thing I will say is I never saw the transaction. You know how you guys like dap up, it's just like this, and you don't see anything.
Yeah.
So when I turned 17, I saw like a bill hanging out of the bottom of his hand, and I was like, hold up, did you just get paid? What? Like what? Because I was sold the dream and this is how you prove loyalty. This is how we get to our happily ever after. He was raised by a single mom. He was down and out a lot of the time, always getting in trouble. Then I started putting the pieces that he was stealing or doing people wrong. But it was very much a loyalty thing.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. And so I started in my head overthinking, right? And one of my male best friends actually was like, hey, so what's going on today? I was like, oh, I was mad. I was like, oh, I gotta go to an appointment. And I was like, no, I'm gonna go hang out with my boyfriend. He was like, huh? What'd you say? Like, no, I'm gonna go hang out with my boyfriend. It's fine. He's like, are you sure? And then I guess he caught on that I wasn't giving him any mind and just kind of dipped. And he started like putting little pieces like, hey, does your boyfriend treat you like this? And like when I'm with my girlfriends, I do this. Has he ever done that for you? And like trying to, I guess, instill what a real relationship was.
Right.
And yeah, and then it came to a point where he flat out was like, why don't you pull back a little bit? Because now it's like you keep going towards him and he's the one that seems to be trying to get away from you, Gloria, and you don't want to be that kind of girl, right? So why don't you pull back a little bit? Yeah. Not knowing that by that time I had already recruited a bunch of girls for him.
Wow.
Right? Not knowing the whole concept of you got two friends, bring these to hang out with my two friends, right? Kind of we're all just hanging out, not knowing what some of them got caught up in.
Yeah.
Not understanding it myself, right? And so that was around 17 and a half. And I did pull back like he instructed that maybe I should try and see if he really does love me. And then I got a phone call a couple months before my 18th birthday. No, I got a phone call on my 18th birthday that 2 months before they had killed him. And so I went on the desktop, right? Because we didn't have Google in our hands like we do now.
Yeah.
And I searched up his name, right? I know first, middle, last.
The male best friend?
No, my trafficker.
Oh, okay.
I knew all the things, right? So in a Google, trying to find it, and I found it. They shot up the car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
So being that young and going through this, like I can only imagine what that did to your mental.
Of course.
Like, can you speak on that experience?
Yeah. So as soon as I found out that he died, I grieved him. Right? Because still like love,
Yeah,
right?
of
Love of my
course.
life kind of thing.
And you had been with him for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And whether all this stuff, it's still, so I grieved him and I really like just kept in search of that. But thankfully I had applied to college in my, I need to pull back and find out what I'm going to do with my life, not knowing if we're going to be together forever kind of thing, losing sight of the fairy tale.
Yeah.
And so I booked it to Massachusetts to go to college. And when I got there, I started having flashbacks, like something unreal, guys, like deer in headlights, stuck in the middle of social work 101, just like stuck. And I started writing it down in my planner all the times that I would have a flashback.
Yeah.
And so gotta take my own advice, right? Can't be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Had to go to therapy.
Yes.
And I fought with my therapist 3 years. I say it openly. It was a fight. Me and her fought tooth and nail, like cursing at each other the whole nine, because she was like, "You were trafficked," and I was like, "No, nobody kidnapped me. I didn't go to Europe. I wasn't locked in a cage. I wasn't on a leash. Like, I got to
Because
go home."
during all of this, you still lived at home with your parents,
Yeah,
correct?
I was home 90% of the time, unless my dad was on business and he knew, like my boyfriend or my trafficker knew, so he took full advantage.
Wow.
And I went to school, I'd say 70% of the time, but part of that wasn't only his fault. Part of that was me just being young and dumb,
Yeah.
You
right?
see, the misconception is like we think trafficking means that you get kidnapped,
And you
you
just
get hidden
disappear.
somewhere, you know what I mean, and
But
You're on
you
a
get
milk
no.
carton, yeah.
locked up in a room,
Yeah.
and you don't have no meals. You're
Yeah.
sleeping on the floor,
And
type
that does
thing.
happen, right?
Yeah.
Like
Of
we know that
course.
there are extremes like that, right?
Correct.
But that's not the common.
So there's parents that may have a child, at their house right now
Being
that they
trafficked.
trafficked,
Yeah.
and they're not aware of it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
They may have a child in their home that's trafficking or recruiting,
And then
and they have no idea. There also may be victims right now listening who have no idea, because
they've been
I had
trafficked.
no idea.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about trafficking in Florida. Absolutely nobody. It didn't even become like a big thing until 2011, when the law stopped saying child prostitute. Because we said child prostitutes until 2011, guys. By
That
then I
is
had 2 degrees.
insane.
2011.
Yeah, by then I had 2 degrees.
How do those words even compute together? That's disgusting.
Now, because now we're more aware.
Aware.
Back then, yeah,
It
that
wasn't a
child
thing.
was prostituting herself.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So like basically on that topic, so how did, for anybody who's listening, you can probably give some examples. Like how did they manipulate you? How did they control you? Like what are some ways that they have gotten you that you're aware of now?
Yeah. I think it's a mixture of things. So I think one was he was grooming me from the beginning.
Of
The
course.
looking back, and I get goosebumps because really
Mm.
looking back to the first day that we met, like really met, like, hey, come and hang out. I thought it was gonna be the 4 of us, right?
Mhm.
All of us, like I said. Nope. It was one chair for me and him, and one chair on the other side of the pool area for my friend and her boyfriend. And I was like, what? Like, are we gonna all chill together? Oh no, you just go over there and get to know him. Yeah, but in one chair. Right? So it was okay, sit on my lap. Okay, right? I'm 12, you're hot, but hold on. Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And then just questioning everything. Oh,
Yeah.
what body splash are you wearing? And oh, why do you put your hair like that? And who buys your clothes? And like questions that
You wouldn't ask.
No.
You wouldn't. Not a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Especially
It
not
got
a
too
12.
personal in a way.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you got way too personal, way too quick, and trying
Yeah.
to find out things that I didn't get.
Yeah.
But he was grooming me from the beginning, and that's one thing that to be aware of. And yeah, I know there was more, but give me a second and give me back that question, because
No,
I told you I have
it's
different
okay.
ones.
Good.
No, it's all
Good.
good. Trust
You
me, I
good.
got you.
Okay.
You
So
said the
so how did they manipulate you? How did they control you? you
okay.
know?
So I mentioned the threats and things like that,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And one time I tested that it wouldn't come to fruition.
Mhm.
And my mom was in the hospital, and my dad stayed with her. My brothers were out clubbing, doing whatever they do. Sorry. And he was like, oh, you have an appointment, whatever. I was like, no, I'm not going. I don't feel good. My mom's in the hospital. Like, please, like, I just want to stay.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. He sent the aggressor and the partier, ransacked my house. Everything in my safe, all of my parents' jewelry, all of their prized possessions, everything from my grandparents that passed away, absolutely everything was gone in a flash.
Oh.
Wow.
In a flash.
Were you home when this happened?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I sure was.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were they?
Okay, the aggressor, it was 19. And then the partier was, I think, a year younger than him.
These are kids.
Mm-hmm. But like,
no, these are not
ransacked
kids.
my house.
Okay, they're not kids. Legally,
they
of
might have
course.
the age of teenagers, but
Yeah.
their mental is way
Mentally,
different.
of course.
Yeah, the whole
That's-
operation, right? And my best friend, well, I have two. One of them didn't get caught up in trafficking, but she was there through a lot of these situations.
Mhm.
And she, like, now that we've talked about it, right? And looking back, she's always like, man, they just kept asking so many questions. And so that was a big tactic for the threats, right? And the
Yeah.
manipulation that way. And then really just that loyalty. Like I can't even stress it enough, but to a 12-year-old, and I think that's what I need more people to understand is that I was 12,
Yeah.
never having a relationship. And then here comes this charming
older man.
dude. He looked like Ken. He looked like blonde hair with the wave,
Prince
blue
Charming.
eyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, please don't take offense to this, but Nelly, if he was white, like he still had a little bit of hood in him.
No offense.
Okay.
Taken.
With a Dickie jumpsuit, like the red Dickie jumpsuit. Do you guys remember?
Those were
Oh
in.
my
They were,
God.
no, they don't. They don't. They,
I don't
they,
know
You
nothing.
guys know.
Jumpsuit.
They don't
Okay, but
remember
you
those.
remember what I'm talking about,
Come
right?
on, this thing-
Somebody
come
here
on.
remembers what
the
I'm talking
Adidas
about.
ones. The
No,
Adidas
the
Nike.
Dickies.
The
The
Dickies.
Dickies. and
Dickies right here on the front.
Those were so hot.
I'm not that young.
sorry, but those were
Yeah.
so hot.
No,
I am.
baggy as heck.
I'm not that
with
young.
the boots.
That- Yeah,
Come
no,
on
no,
now,
no.
Will Smith used to rock them things. Those
Oh,
were
there
those.
you go.
Will
Come on
Smith
now.
is
With
too
the
skinny
jersey.
for those. Will
Yeah.
Smith is too skinny
They
for
used to
those.
get baggy ones though.
But
With
they
the-
need a little bit
yeah,
more.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So he was wearing one of those, and I was like, man, like this is the first guy to take me to the movies and to the beach, at night on Miami Beach,
Wow.
right? All
Yeah.
the things that are culture.
He
Also,
gave you
like
that Miami
you that.
girl. This is my boyfriend, living the life.
all the songs. Play any song from 2002, and I promise you, I lived part of whatever is in that song.
That was
Wow.
a good. Those were good years.
They were.
Yeah.
Can't relate.
Yeah, I can't. Really,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, no.
Sorry, you guys.
Not in music.
Sorry.
Not in music.
But it was.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow, I
I didn't
think
really know
oh.
any other way.
19, 18,
I
16 year
agree.
old.
I think moving past your time being trafficked now
Yeah.
that you are a mother to 3 girls, how are you taking precautions to make sure that
Mhm.
your kids don't end up in the situation?
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
yeah, you could answer our questions first. I have a follow-up question.
Your kids are a little older than mine.
Yes, I have follow-up.
Okay, so I have thought of this 1,010 ways because my 5-year-old recently, she left in a parking lot and I almost died. And I was like,
Oh.
I like yelled her name and I was like, bad people out there, they can take you. And she's like, no, there's no bad people in this world that take people. And I was like, oh my God, right? Everything, all of me. It was like,
Yeah.
you can't wrath on a 5-year-old. But
Of course.
what I what I have tried is kind of like explaining it since they were younger. Like there are good people in the world, but there are still people that look good but have like a fuzzy ear, like a monster, or like a fuzzy tail, right? Or like
Yeah, break it
something.
down. Break it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And so my girls are pretty stink faced. They have the RBF real hard until they get to know you, and then they'll bring it down. And that I really appreciate that
Yeah,
from
Of
that's
them.
course,
good.
that's very good.
As they get older, I really need them to just like openly talk to me, and that means I need to check me
Yeah.
because I need to not lose my cool when they come with some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And also give them room to experience and not be such a hover parent. But still have those real conversations, man. Like guys will come for you just for one thing, right? Not every guy, but some guys might. And if it's too good, then maybe it really is too
Too
good.
good.
Good to be
Yeah.
true.
You
Yeah.
know, and if that friend comes and all of a sudden she wants to know all about you and all the ways to fix all the little problems you got, hold on a minute,
Yeah.
right?
You should be a little bit wary.
Yes. And then for parents, I always tell them if your kid comes home with an extra phone, you didn't buy for them, a brand new purse, you didn't buy for them, or anything like that, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
My parents, when I finally told them, they definitely started looking at the difference in people, the difference in places that I would go to, how I changed how I dress, how I changed like my attitude, and just different things that weren't me.
Yeah.
And back then they thought it was typical teenage behavior, and so I really encourage people to not just shy it away as typical teenage behavior.
Of course.
And what was their reaction when they found out?
Yeah. Definitely like a bomb went off in my house. My dad was ready, like, where is he? I'm gonna kill him. Who is he?
I'm already
can't
knowing.
imagine.
But
Mhm.
also something I share with my parents and try really hard to not say to my own kids because that's why I didn't tell him. Because I knew that
Wow,
him
that
and
he
all
can.
my uncles that were at
It
the
would
house,
be, I'm gonna beat him up. I'm
all
gonna
in
this.
prison. They would all be where they were.
Yeah.
All of them.
And
Every
what's it
last
called?
one of them.
Of
And-
course,
and-
you
and-
loved your trafficker. You know, like
Yeah.
you believed that you loved him, so of
Yeah.
course you would never rat him out.
No. And even in those moments where I was like, this is wrong. Like something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Maybe it is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that if I were to say the half of what I experienced with them,
They would.
my
They
dad-
would.
They'd catch on.
Yeah.
my dad would have.
I mean, I can
Done.
only imagine the trauma that he must have gone through,
Of course.
knowing because I too work for the government, and I have a daughter, and I have a son, so I'm not like a girl dad,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
but I am a girl dad,
Yes.
and she's about 8.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here listening to you, right, and I'm going straight to her.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what your dad does and knowing what I do, I really don't know if I have, or how can I put this?
It's worse. What you're thinking is worse because daddy works for the government. No matter what, he can come save me. Daddy works for the government. No matter what, I could just pull out his card when the cops pull up. Don't worry, I got it. I'm the one that's dad works for the government. So you guys stay back so they don't know what's going on. And I got his card in my wallet.
So if anything, it was like an excuse to. It was like cover up
I
for
was
them too.
untouchable.
Jesus.
Untouchable. And that looking back, whoa.
Yeah.
Promotion.
They were, for lack of a better word, running a very good operation.
For sure.
They had their bases checked. They said, "Hey, don't worry about it. My
They
girlfriend,
found the one.
yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That tells me a lot, like, and to parents, that work hard to provide a life for your family, for your kids, that's still not enough.
Mhm.
Right? It's still not enough. And no matter how vigilant you are, you can always be more. You can always do more. You can always ask more questions. Right? And you can always, like, man, I'm going through my kids' book bags. I don't care. I'm taking it old school like my father and my mother did. It didn't make me worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna stop, doing what they did to me,
They ain't broke
with
no
my
fence.
kids. It's
Right.
not broken.
Don't
And in this soft generation, no apologies, that we live in, Did I strike a nerve?
What y'all looking at me for?
She young.
We're the same generation.
Falling back.
Yeah. She part of that young generation.
Watch out, fall back.
They are soft though. I'm
It's
getting
the
it.
Careful with
soft
school,
generation,
child.
All right.
man.
All right.
And your parents yell at you,
Thank
you
you.
go and cry
Cry.
to somebody,
Yeah.
as if, I'm being abused at home. Hey,
My mom
look,
told me I can't go to the
man.
movies tonight. I hate her.
Look,
Yeah.
look.
Dude,
Yeah.
you just said you were scared about being called to the
Being
office
called to
at
the office.
16. What do you mean? And you didn't do anything. What,
She's
you
going
scared
home.
of?
I didn't. I was such a goody two shoes.
Oh
I've
my
always
God.
been that
Man.
kid.
No way.
Good grades. I could,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
for the most part. For the most part.
So, like, going back to it, it's a scary thought as a parent, for me as a parent.
Yeah.
So I would advise those parents that are listening to us, man, pay more attention to your kids.
Of
Pay
course.
more attention to your kids.
And the
With-
people they're around.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Like the Haitians have a saying, like, tell me who you hang with, I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
I
Yeah. My
agree.
daughter's godfather is Haitian. Says it all the time to the kids.
Yeah. Tell me who you hang with, I'll tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful who you hang with.
Wow. Okay. Propelling forward now in your life, you do.
Are you ready to go forward? All right, let me go back.
Oh,
Go ahead.
backwards.
So let's go back. I'm
Go for
sorry.
it.
When did you realize, that I need to get out of this, and how did you do it?
I didn't.
What do you
Right?
mean?
So they killed him.
and you were
So
just
that
free.
was your
I've never seen the aggressor or the partier ever again.
Wow.
But I know that he can't touch me. So I can say it to the world.
because
He can't touch me. So I didn't. And a lot of people ask, why I didn't speak up and all of that. And I can honestly say I would have never spoken up
Mhm.
because my dad worked his butt off. Right? My dad was dropped off in Dominican Republic by by my grandfather with like $10 in his pocket. Go to school, be a doctor. Right? Dad then ended up raising my brother by himself until he was 4 years old and then met my mom and history from there. But he worked his butt off to get a job with the government, and we moved every 9 months from Puerto Rico to New Hampshire to Pennsylvania to Arizona to California to New York to 3 parts of Florida just so he
Wow.
could move up in rank. I would
Yeah.
never sacrifice that because I was sad about the way I was being treated. Never. So there was no way I would have said anything.
I get that. And so while you're doing all this moving, your trafficker is following you around?
No, that's
No?
before. Up
Oh,
until Miami, right?
okay.
So my dad had worked very hard all of
Mm-hmm.
those years. I went to like 7 different elementary schools, right? He
Wow.
just needed to
Because you
go.
was moving up the
Of
ranks.
course.
Yes, I wouldn't sacrifice that. No, I wouldn't say anything. So I would have. I don't see any other way for me was that pulling back until he either was like, I'm good, I got enough girls, screw you kind of thing. Or I would have been like, it's
Wow.
time for me to go to college. So either you're gonna follow me or
Or
I'm
you're
out.
not.
Yeah, because
Wow.
that's the thing. Yes, they pick smart because I could I could get them out of some things,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they also didn't pick that smart because my dad wasn't just gonna let me go. Right? He was never gonna let me go and never see me again. That wasn't gonna
Yeah,
happen.
of
That's
course.
correct.
I think because you're in a
Wow.
you were in a very interesting situation to where there was no like realization, I'm being trafficked, I'm going to get out of here. It was kind of just taken from you before you knew it was happening.
That. So I didn't get
How
closure.
how was that feeling? How was like healing from that? Like trying to grieve your boyfriend and then finding out that he was your trafficker and then realizing and like sitting and actually, you know,
It's just a bunch of mixed
Yeah.
emotions
I
lately.
know.
Sorry guys. But no, that I realized in therapy, right? Those flashbacks that I had in social work 101 and all the other classes I took that first year.
Mhm.
And that led me into therapy and those 3 years of fighting with this lady while she educated me on what trafficking was. And I was like, no, rape, no, sexual assault, no, this. And she
Mhm.
kept pulling me back to that
Mhm.
force, fraud, or coercion. Right? Because there needs to be something there, right? There needs to be a manipulation, there needs to be some kind of threats, there needed to be something.
Yeah.
And there was all of that, even though I went home. And so realizing it at the 3.5 year mark was really upsetting because
Of
now
course.
I know what I've been through, but I
Mhm.
don't get to tell you all the ways I really feel about you
Yeah.
because you're dead.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't get any closure whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's no one to prosecute, and I'm not about to go find the other two just to prosecute them.
Of course, because you don't need to go and relive that again,
Not
bring your
about that.
daughters through that. Like, you don't, you know?
Hopefully they've
You
been
know,
prosecuted.
and to like kind of like elaborate on that. Some people would look upon that and be like, "Yo, no, like, cause what they doing to somebody else, all that stuff," and like people would lose sight, like that you two were a victim,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then once they hear that, like I'm not about to, cause I got my family to take care of, and I don't want to basically deal with that again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like people will look down upon that type of
Yeah.
that type of mindset, and
I would tell them that everyone gets what's coming to them one way or another.
I agree. I think
What?
also,
oh,
of course, unless you're in that situation, you're never going to know how it is, I feel
Yeah.
like it's way easier to be
it.
like, "Oh my goodness, you were trafficked, you got out, now go tell the cops and go this and go that and put them in jail." It's really not that easy, especially nowadays with how trying to use my words correctly, especially with the state of the world right now. It might be hard to be
Yeah.
to be
You use
believed.
your words, correctly.
It might be hard, for women to be believed and even if you are believed or even if, it is acknowledged and you have evidence and you do this, frankly, a lot of people in the government don't really care because they're part of that, And I think that's a really scary thing.
I think it's a lot of shame and guilt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the fact that I am privileged. So that can't happen to you. You're privileged. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Where's the proof?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That and that's why I waited until I had my master's and opened my nonprofit before I said anything. Because none of you
Wow.
are giving me a handout because of what I went through.
Of
None of you
course.
are gonna pity me because of anything. No one is gonna tell me that I got that job because of this. I worked at trafficking centers before saying I was a victim.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Like I've worked with those cases. I've been there in the field. Like I've done those positions
Mm-hmm.
without anyone knowing. Because you're not gonna tell me that the only reason I can do this job
Is because
Yeah.
exactly. And so how was that like making that decision, after you have your master's, at this point you have your nonprofits as well, right?
Yeah.
How is it, being like, "Hey, I'm ready to come open with this. I'm ready to not come clean, but I'm ready to tell people this is what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a survivor. I went through it." And, like how was it shifting kind of your life, I guess, because I'm sure once that is public knowledge, it's a very big shift in how people perceive you and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very crucial.
God gave me a daughter,
Mm.
and he had me pregnant with a daughter and by myself throughout my pregnancy while working in a trafficking center. And I was like, okay, I heard you. I heard you.
He does that
It's
sometimes.
time for me to go.
Right.
It's time for me to go and focus on myself and my daughter, and I'll get back to you. I heard you. And my dad was my biggest critic then, right before the radio was gonna release. Hits 97.3 was the first to put it out, and then it was Voyage magazine. Like back to back. Because I was hosting the A21 Walk to Freedom a couple years ago.
Right.
And I called up my dad and I was like, hey, all the stuff's gonna come out. And he like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Of
Why are you
course.
doing this to the family kind of thing? And I was like, listen, dad, like I have to. Like I have to.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, if it's for the good, if it's for the better, if it's going to help people, fine. If it in any ways impacts your career, right? Career driven.
Of
Right.
course.
More our generation,
Yeah. Mhm.
but career driven was, if it's gonna impact your career in any way whatsoever,
It's
then
ridiculous.
please stop it. Like stop it from releasing.
Of
Yeah,
course.
Of course.
I'll tell you, he died the day
Wow.
before it was released. And I feel strongly, and I'm sorry, I know you got you guys on a roller coaster, but I strongly feel that was I can't take hearing this over and over the way
Oh,
you need to
wow.
say it. So I'm gonna dip out, and you do what you gotta do.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. It was the day before the walk
Uh-huh.
where everything was gonna be released, right? I did the walk. It was supposed to be thunderstorming rain. My brothers were there. My friends were there. It was the first time my whole family had really supported me in this as we're grieving, right? Just
Of
can't let the world
course.
know. Gotta get this walk done.
Wow.
And then as soon as we were done and everybody left, it started to rain. I was like, okay, heard. Got it.
All right. This got a little tough. Got a little tough. So he gave you his blessing.
Basically. That's how I feel. Right?
Yeah.
Because you told me if it was for the good, we're gonna, go ahead and do it.
Go forward.
I know he knew that I was calling him because I didn't want him to be sad. And I didn't want him to affect him and mom in that way. And
Yeah.
I didn't want him to feel like his daughter's dirty laundry was being aired out, right? And he got to read little bits because I sent him some, right?
Yeah.
And I kept it very clean in the beginning. I didn't go into a lot of things because I wanted to be respectful.
Of course.
And yeah, I feel like that definitely was his blessing because by now, I don't know, it's been in a lot of, I've had family from Venezuela call me and be like, hey, I saw you on the TV.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I definitely think it was his blessing to go and do what I gotta do.
Wow.
Tragedy into a blessings.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, do you think there are misconceptions about human trafficking?
Yeah, I think most people think that a guy traffics a girl. Most people think it's a stranger when actually, most commonly, it's someone you know.
And trust.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's not locked in a cage and trafficked abroad, right? It happens right here. I was trafficked right here in Cutler Bay, right? So
Yeah.
it's a
Down the
pretty good
street.
town. Yeah.
Literally.
And not a bad town. I mean, now if you look at Saga Bay homes, they're what? Over $1 million by now. Dwayne
Wow.
Wade had bought the house in Cutler Cay right next to it.
Right.
So if and so that's what I'm saying with the shame and guilt too. It
Yeah.
was a lot of privilege that I experienced. So for a long time, it was like, who am I?
To say
Just-
this when there's people who are going through worse.
Okay.
Wow.
And what are I'm sorry, I'm just doing rapid questions today.
Go for
Nah,
it. Shoot,
fam.
shoot,
Oh,
shoot.
what are some warning signs that parents need to be aware of?
Well, I mentioned a couple, right? Like the coming home with things you didn't give them the money to buy is a big one. You see a second phone, you snatch that phone. I had his name tattooed pretty early. I was branded pretty early.
Oh, so you did get branded.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
early. First like cattle, then with a tattoo. So that's pretty early for me. That was before 18 for sure. And I really think it's the people, places, and things. And I know we say that a lot for substance abuse and a bunch of
Mhm.
stuff, but I
But
really need people to
to
really,
realize, yeah, because
it
who
is.
you're around absolutely affects who you are.
And it's where you're going. So are you hanging out at a friend's house and you guys are just having a gutty? Like for me, I was playing Mario Kart half the time. But when I wasn't, I was at Space and at Oxygen and at Nocturnal and
Yeah.
Studio A and all the places that I shouldn't be at 13 in a
Yeah.
club, right?
And then with Miami culture, that's okay. It's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, it's not okay. It's not okay.
No.
Please parent your children. But in Miami, it's
It's like the
normal
norm, yeah.
Yeah.
for
And
kids who
then
are super young to be clubbing and stuff.
drugs and drinking.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask that question.
Yeah,
I just
Go for
remembered.
it.
So how involved were drugs and alcohol throughout that whole process?
Yeah.
And-
Extremely. It's why DEA works so closely with the Human Trafficking Task Force because
Yeah.
I want to say 100% of the time, but I guess there's one and a few that doesn't. But that's how you get the girls to comply, right? That's how the victims deal.
Yeah.
'Cause
Right?
You
So-
numb them.
That is true.
Xanax, marijuana,
Yeah.
alcohol, Percocets, anything that's going to chill you out, cocaine, right? Anything that's either going to chill you out when I need you to chill out or hype up when I need you to hype up. But here are the things that we need to give you. So what happens to a 13-year-old when you're constantly giving them different things?
Jesus.
You know what? Like in our culture, like sometimes we go to our parents about something that's happening to us. They're like, you're the cause of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Man.
So
Yeah, I got that speech. I got the you're gonna.
Dude,
mhm.
Why
Okay.
didn't you see what was going on? Why didn't you? Yeah.
correct. So how can you, educate the parents on, how to better support, somebody that was human trafficked?
I would observe because all of the healing comes differently, right?
Mhm.
All of the phases
That
come
is
a
true.
little differently, and I
Yeah.
would just observe. And that goes even for at-risk youth, or or just wanting to pay more attention to children or survivors, because you want to observe them in their element.
Mhm.
Invite their friends over. That's one thing, my parents did a lot of, and it saved me a lot of nights to have everyone at my house.
Yeah.
Come
So
party at my
nothing
house.
could happen.
My dad ended up buying a pool, a trampoline, a whole bunch of stuff just so we could party at my house, right? So observe your kids with their friends, and then when
Be involved, basically.
yeah, where
Yeah.
they go, but not too involved because then they say
Because then
Yeah,
you're
of
a
course.
helicopter
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but just observe. And then for survivors, man, I've met quite a few over the years now that I've shared it, and we've all healed in different ways. And one thing that I think it's funny is we're all sick of the stories. And I know that's the point of me
No,
being
I
here.
get that.
But it's like we know that we need to share to build awareness,
Mhm.
and we hope that from that everyone that's listening goes and tells 15 people,
Yeah.
Right.
so
Yeah.
that it's less of us
Mhm.
having to share
Mhm.
stories to get people attention, and more people's just attention there,
Yeah.
because really it's the shock factor of us saying it that gets people in.
Mhm.
But then I just need you to listen to everything else.
Of course.
Right? I need you to listen to the red
Yeah.
flags and the risk factors and all
Mhm.
of those things to get there. And so I hope one day it's less storytelling and more
Prevention.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I started taking back the girls, is the prevention part.
That's
Wow,
pretty
that
dope.
is amazing.
What would you recommend? Rapid questions.
Go
What
for
would
it.
you recommend for, let's say, a listener that's hearing this for the first time and like, oh crap, like, I think I'm being trafficked,
Yeah.
right? What would you recommend the start of recovery and so on and so forth?
Okay, so 305 fix, like FIX, stop. It is the Miami-Dade County hotline number. It's from the Human Trafficking Task Force. I know all 3 women that pick up that phone. They are amazing. It is a real person. It is not a push this button. No, it is a live person. Hey, are you okay? They can move mountains. They have, undisclosed buildings and places that they can take you to that will let you take a shower and eat and just kind of chill for a sec
Yeah.
before we go to they go to any questionings or things like that. And times have changed, and that's one thing that hindered me, obviously, but now we're way more aware. Things
Yeah.
move way
Mhm.
fast. You say
Yeah.
trafficking, I mean, and things are moving. Like
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
moving everywhere they gotta go to track them down, and undercover stings and so much stuff. And there is no longer that no you weren't, right? There's like,
Yeah.
okay, tell us more. Like tell us how this went down. And there's some cases that have come in, that have been shared with me that may not meet the mark of human trafficking, and that's okay. No one's going to click on you, no one's going to not help you,
Yeah.
right? Because it didn't go to an extreme that of this, right?
Mhm.
So I would encourage them to call. It is completely anonymous. You can even text it.
Nice.
And so even if you're the friend of the friend that that your girlfriend or your, best guy friend is really struggling in that relationship and something's funny, if you need to be the one to call, then call, because staying in silence isn't working. There's too many deaths because of it, and too many, really bad situations that don't need to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They don't need to happen.
Absolutely. Could you say the number one more time for us, please?
Yes, it's 305 fix stop, FIXSTOP.
Yes. And of course, obviously all of our viewers aren't in the lovely Miami. Of course, make sure to take the time and research and to see what the hotlines are in your area. I will
There's
look.
a national.
There's a national one?
Yeah, it's the Polaris hotline. I don't have it memorized, but
That is okay.
Polaris.
Polaris hotline. We will have all of these in the description in the video. If you or someone that you know or love, or even someone that you don't know too well, an acquaintance who's being a little bit funny, don't be scared to be the one to,
Say something.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think the national hotline is 1-888-373-7888. I believe that's the number.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't have
Yes,
it
I
memorized.
hope.
I'm not
I
even
hope
gonna
I'm
lie.
right.
Hopefully.
Okay. So, 2 questions before,
You're
we go.
good.
You have 2 nonprofits.
Yeah.
What kind of services do you provide?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we spoke about the inspiration behind the nonprofits. So, what kind of services do you provide?
So the Parenting Center, we offer free services. So that could be pregnancy tests, referrals to ultrasounds to be completely covered, essential items. So car seats, strollers, bassinets, cribs, wipes, diapers, clothes, anything that parents need. Yeah, household items. I mean, we have toys, we have all kinds of stuff that parents will need for their kids. And then pregnancy and postpartum counseling and support. We contract with doulas so that they can have a doula with them when they give birth and get them
Wow.
ready for birth. And then for the teen center, Taking Back the Girls, it's all prevention, man. It's human trafficking awareness presentations like this. I told you guys I
Yeah.
presented to 900 girls the other day. That was awesome. And workshops individually and as groups, because we need to prevent.
course.
And the way to prevent for me is I went backwards. Why did I end up in his hands? Oh, this, and this. Cool. Let's fill those gaps.
Wow.
I understand. Yeah. Yeah. And for our listeners, how can they reach you? How can they support you?
So
Yeah, fact.
thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So I never turn a family away, and I never turn any youth away, male, female, over my age limit that that we focus on.
Yeah.
Younger, I never do. And so supporting us goes a long way by sharing, obviously, right? Share about both centers, anyone you need, that may need us. Instagram, right? Taking Back the Girls. It's very simple, all one word.
Taking back,
Back
the
the
girls.
girls.
Yep, on Instagram, Tree of Life is Tree of Life _center. Yeah, I would appreciate to share. There's in the link, in the link tree in our bio, there's always ways to donate, volunteer, whether that's used items, whether that's monetary donations, whatever that is, we accept them. The formula shortage was a big thing for us because people were just dropping it off to us. And so
Yeah.
you couldn't find formula in Publix, but you could find it at my center.
Oh, that's nice.
That's so great.
Mhm.
That's great.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
We gotta unpack all this.
You guys need therapy after this?
I might.
Little
I
bit,
might need a
little
session of
bit.
therapy. So I want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come to Tap In.
Of course.
Yeah,
We've been blessed, to have you here,
Alright.
and the information you provided, I'm sure, will help somebody out there. So this is something that we ask of all our guests. If you may do us the honor and tell the world, like, what is one thing that you want to share with the world?
Ooh, so much pressure.
No pressure.
Man, I would like us all to be just a little kinder. Just a little kinder.
How'd you
I
say it
hear
again?
too often how people speak to each other in the store, how my kids, speak to their friends and they speak back, right? Like just every generation, every age group, I think if we could just speak to each other a little nicer, right? Because we often ask, like, what is wrong with you? Instead of like, what happened to you
Yeah.
and what happened today or what are you going through?
Yeah.
And I really think we need to be a little kinder together.
I think that is.
I think 2025. It's
Yeah. We definitely need it, you
Yeah.
guys.
kindness is needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Wow. Wow. I want to, applaud you
For sure.
for,
I'm saying.
your current 3 degrees. You're about to add one more. Being an amazing mother from what you've said, being able to take that and, learn from yourself and what you've been through and to make sure that you can give your children the best life possible. That is absolutely amazing. And, you were just so strong. Like, so many people don't have the strength to do what you do. I don't think I would have the strength to do what you do. But thank you for coming out here. We've met once before actually at
Yeah.
a community event, and I just had the best time with you. You were amazing.
Thanks.
She came over. She told us, we like, man, we have to
Yes,
have
I
her.
was so excited. I was like,
We
you
have
guys,
to.
let me tell you about Gloria.
Yeah, we have to have her.
But yes, thank you so much. The Tappan family appreciates you. Yes.
Most definitely.
Wow.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And this is your house. You could come back at any time.
I
Yes.
appreciate it.
You're
Not
welcome.
just to give you therapy.
Not
right?
just
You
to
don't
give me
have to-
therapy. I could use that too.
I think the next time you come, it's gonna be a therapy.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
therapy
yeah,
session
I'll
for
just
sure.
lay down on the couch. I'll just cross my legs.
Please,
There
we
you
need
go.
it. We need it.
We'll do that. Well, hit us up. Go ahead and like the video, share it, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook, IG, and TikTok.
TikTok's still alive.
TikTok is still
Tik-
alive.
Hey,
If you didn't
no
delete it,
Thank you, President, for making that happen. So let's go. This has been a take of tap to tap to tap,
tap in.
and we out.